I was watching a buddy of mine stream by the name of Pincognito, and I saw him do something cool, and I said, I want to do that. So I did. Watching Pinko stream, he was using Dragonclaw, Dragon Talons, what's it called? It's a claw. Dragonclaw. He was using Dragonclaw, and if you've ever played around with it, you know that if you press it twice, that second cast has an insane recovery time. But if you interrupt the Dragonclaw cast with a different cast, it can be faster. And so Dragonclaw gives you all this insane hyper armor, gives you a bunch of damage. It's an awesome spell. It's pretty easy to avoid as long as you don't panic against it, or, just so long as you're able to pay attention to it. So what we're doing is we're interrupting it with that there Bloodflame Talon. This is my Talon build. Oops, all Talons. Warhawk Talon, Dragonclaw, which is basically a Talon. It's Talon-like. And Bloodflame Talon. So Warhawk, Bloodflame, and Dragon. It's the trifecta of Talons, baby. And this is my family build. This is my player covenant that we did for this charity event a while back, like 4 months ago. I thought, I already had a build that used Bloodflame Talons as like the beginning of a combo. Bloodflame Talons will true combo into pretty much anything in this game. Outside of like a fully charged attack or something, anything crazy like that. So this build uses Bloodflame Talons and the Warhawk Talon. It combos into the R2, the heavy attack. And I was using that for a while. And this build I knew it would be fine in the arena for brawls and that kind of thing. It's fine. But it was suffering a little bit in invasions because it just didn't have some explosive, holy crap, that's a lot of damage, everybody get off of me, leave me alone type thing going on. So I added Dragonclaw to the build because I could, because of the stat requirement, and wouldn't you know it, lo and behold, that was the answer to all my problems. It worked out great. And never looked back after that. But then I'm watching Pinko stream, and this invasion right here, I want you to kind of pay attention. I never hit my combo until like the very end. It took me a while to like figure out like how to make this work, Pincognito was streaming, and he was using Dragonclaw into Unescapable Frenzy. So he would do the Dragonclaw, and then real quick, if they stayed close to him, he would grab them and do the Inescapable Frenzy spell. That's the one where you grab them and you make prolonged eye contact. And I was like, oh man, that's so cool. So I wanted to try that with Bloodflame Talon, and here we go. So that last invasion right there kind of gave you a look. You might have noticed those roll catches at the end there. This build doesn't have a lot of stats to play with when I first made it. It needs some faith to cast spells, it needs arcane to proc bleed and cast spells, and then it needs strength and dex to use weapons, right? So I gave myself 5 extra dex by using Millicent's Prosthesis, and since I'm playing in a very combo-centric playstyle, that 5 extra dex also gets me a buff whenever I land a combo, because that's how Millicent's Prosthesis works. So once I get the combo, my AR increases, my damage increases, my attack power. I'm going to call it AR, attack rating. I'm sorry for that. It's just what it was called in Souls. So that's what I mean, attack power. You'll notice a little buff pop up on me anytime somebody gets hit multiple times. and that is that buff, Millicent's Prosthesis. And then you'll also notice that anytime someone bleeds, I also get a buff from that, and that is thanks to the Lord of Blood's Exaltation, which is another talisman that we have on in this build. And then to save room for stats, we're also using Marika's Soar Seal, and that gets us a little bit of Arcane, 5, and a little bit of Faith, 5. And what that does is allows us to have Dragon Talons and stuff like that. But it also means we take extra damage. But at level 60, that's okay. It's really not that bad. I just used the Phantom Great Rune there. That's Mohg's Great Rune, for anybody who's not familiar. And what that does is when my opponents bleed out, if I have used that Great Rune, all of the enemies that got the buff get the Lord of Blood's Exaltation buff. So basically what it does is it gives the enemies Lord of Blood Exaltation. So anytime you proc bleed, they also get a buff, which is nice. It also has another effect, which I'll go over a little bit later. But we're just going for the combo, and I'm trying to figure out, like, when is the time to do it, you know. And I'm trying to, like, pick my spots. And it turns out that the answer is, just do it. Just do it. That's always the answer. Anytime I play with a spell, and I'm like, how on God's green earth am I supposed to hit this? I've talked about this with O Flame. I've talked about it with the Carrion Greatsword spell. And I've talked about it with Bloodflame Talon. The answer is to just cast it. Just cast it. A lot. And do a lot of invasions. And then you'll sort of get a feel for when it works and when it doesn't. But with this thing, basically, you just can't trade at the very beginning of it. Dragonclaw gets a ton of hyper armor. But it does take it, 2, maybe 3 seconds before that hyper armor kicks in. If you get hit on your ascent into the air, it'll knock you down. If you get hit once you're in the air, hovering, you're fine. You're not going to get knocked out of that unless it's by something insane. But most stuff, you will just simply poise through it. So we're using the Dragonclaw, just very liberally. Just throw it out. It'll probably hit. And then immediately cast Bloodflame Talons, and that cancels out of the Dragonclaw, the second cast of Dragonclaw, and it just comes out very quick, as you have probably, hopefully, noticed already. I'm also using the Serpent Bow on this build, since we have so much Arcane. The Serpent Bow builds up poison very quick if you pair it with the Serpent Arrows, which we do. Basically, anytime I win an invasion, I just go to the vendor that sells Serpent Arrows, and I just buy a bunch. And that's the way it works. So, like, Bloodflame Talons, this is a good... You could practice Bloodflame Talons here. Basically, you would just outspace this person and cast Bloodflame Talons when you knew they were going to try and swing again. And that's your, like, best bet. Notice how he rolled backwards and he avoided my Bloodflame Talon. That's the right answer. So this combo isn't like a true combo. It's not a guaranteed combo. You can get out of it. It basically just punishes aggression and bad rolls. And the bad roll is when you roll forward, which thankfully on this narrow little platform right here, this guy is going to show us a bad roll. Because he, I guess, maybe feels like he doesn't have anywhere else to roll, so he goes there. Look at the spacing. Beautiful. Dragonclaw, Bloodflame Talon, and he rolled forward, so he gets caught by the Bloodflame Talon. Bloodflame Talon is a bit like it's like a floating land mine, an air mine, and an atmosphere mine. It just hovers there, and then it turns into a hitbox. And that's what allows it to combo into everything. As opposed to O Flame, which combos into everything. O Flame comes out really quick and staggers your opponent for a long time. Bloodflame Talon just sort of hovers there. By the time it pops off, you are already out of the recovery. So you're free to do whatever you want. You can be getting any move ready that you want. So again, we're using the Phantom Great Rune, and I think you will see in this invasion, keep in mind, if you want this great rune, you have to beat Mohg. Yeah. So that just did like a bunch of damage to that guy. I'm not sure if it counted or not. I used the Phantom Great Rune, but I'm not sure if the worm had bled or not. That guy might have just not had a lot of HP. I'm not sure. But once something bleeds near the enemy that you have buffed with the Great Rune, if that enemy kills one of the phantoms, a co-op phantom or a blue, whatever, if it kills something, it will heal all of your health, which is a pretty cool little benefit of you. There, you just saw, hopefully, my health just completely refilled because the ulcerated tree spirit killed one of the phantoms. So even running a bleed build, this is fantastic. But even if you're that poor guy, even if you're not running a bleed build, this works really well because a lot of, anytime you invade, you're invading 2 or 3 people, potentially even more if you kill somebody and then blues show up and take their place. You're potentially running into even more people. Odds are one of them is bleed build, right? And what other Great Rune is going to do anything for you at all as an invader? So in order to use this, there's the combo. Oh, isn't that just really nice to look at? Isn't that really cool? Yeah, so one of your opponents is bound to be a bleed build. People have asked me if seppuku would work to do that because you inflict bleed on yourself. I don't see why it doesn't work, but I don't think it does. I might be wrong. I've tried it. Granted, it's hard to pay attention to whether or not you get that health back because sometimes I'm so... It's just ingrained in me. If a phantom dies, drink a flask before you get one back, right? I don't know. That's just a weird habit. It's not weird. It's understandable. It's just muscle memory that I've picked up. So I could be wrong. Maybe seppuku does work. I don't see why it wouldn't, but I don't think it does. Yeah. Anyway, sorry. There was a really great little combo there that we hit on this host before the host retreated back to the Grace after his buddies got chopped down, and it was a beautiful combo. And you're about to see an even better one. It's been hard for me to like get myself away from Street Fighter and do some Elden Ring, just because that's how much I'm enjoying Street Fighter. But this build with, this is like a damn Street Fighter EX combo right here. Look at that. R2. That's 2 hits, 3 hits, 4 hits, 5 hits, 6 hits, 6 hits, 7 hits. I am absolutely feeling it. I have an idea for another build that I want to make. I'm just not in any hurry to make another build. Like I said, I'm playing Street Fighter, and I'm just absolutely loving it. And also, Final Fantasy 16 is about to come out, and I'm actually really looking forward to Final Fantasy 16. So, yeah, I'm not in any hurry to make Elden Ring builds, So I thought to myself, well, why not try, some different combos, since Bloodflame, Talon, true combos and everything. So I got that, 7-hit combo on that dude. There's a great example of the Hydroma right there. And so I decided, yeah, let's try some other stuff. Bloodflame, Talon into Bloody Slash. That works. Why not use that? So that was one that I did. I think I did... Bloodflame Talons into Spinning Slash. I think that was one that I did. This poor guy. I included this invasion just because it's silly. I'm out of flasks. I'm out of everything. I'm out of blue FP. I'm out of red HP. I'm out of my Crimson Flask. I'm out of my Cerulean Flask. I'm out of everything. And yeah, that Phantom was a little high level, as you just noticed there. But I was fighting these guys to the bitter end, tooth and nail, and that frenzied eyeball tower is right behind us there, and the host kind of gave up. And you know, I can't. After that fight, like, you got to go. But I'll give him a high five. Everybody high five this guy. There you go. There's your high five, buddy. Yeah, sorry. Not in any hurry to make any new builds. I'll probably make some after, like, Final Fantasy 16. And hopefully around, you know, hopefully by the time I finish that up, we have some word on the Elden Ring DLC, the Shadows of the Erd Tree DLC expansion, excuse me. I suspect we might hear about that at the Tapai Game Show, which is it's a game show. You know, they show off new games and things like this. It's in Tapai. Guess what? They have it every year. It's in Taiwan, and if I'm not mistaken, that is where From Software has showed off DLCs for the first time before. When they're, you know, when they, like, the DLC trailer. If I'm not mistaken, that's where they show them off at. You can feel free to fact check me there, but I'm pretty sure I'm right. So I would expect that, you know, that would be where it was at. Actually, now that I'm looking at it, hang on. Nah, never mind. Sorry, I misspoke. That's correct that they've showed off trailers there, but apparently the Tapai Game Show is in February. So maybe it's Tokyo Game Show that I'm thinking of. Maybe. Anyway, it's right at the end of the summer, right before fall, or maybe at the very start of fall. So anyway, that's where I'm guessing we'll see it. That gives them time to get Armored Core out and market for Armored Core, and then, you know, switch and start marketing for the Elden Ring DLC expansion. Excuse me. This isn't based off any insider whatever. It's just pattern recognition. Yeah. Sorry. Anyway, trying out some different combos. You can see here I've got double slash on the Warhawk Talon. I figured let's try that out. I also slapped the Shamshir on this build because I could. I had the stats for it, and I really like the Shamshir. I think it's cool. And I put Sword Dance on the Shamshir. And that's a cool combo too. The only problem with that combo is that first hit of Sword Dance after the Ash of War nerf, where they nerfed all the poise damage of Ashes of War, Sword Dance no longer breaks poise on its first hit. So it's, you know, people can get hit and then roll out of that second hit. If they get hit by the second hit, great, now their poise is broke for sure. If they get poise broke by that first hit, I think the second hit's a true combo. It's just in a worse spot than it was when the game first came out. When the game first came out, I loved Sword Dance. Sword Dance and Spinning Slash were two of my favorite things to put on a straight sword, just because they had poise break capabilities and they were fast, which is something that you need if you're, you know, using a lot of straight swords. But the Shamshir is still cool. You could put Spinning Slash on it and have better results than I did with Sword Dance. But I just thought, you know, Shamshir should have Sword Dance. Say that 3 times fast. Don't. You don't have to. I'm just playing. But you can try if you want to. Go ahead. It's pretty good. Alright. So, yeah. This invasion, I'm trying to get the double slash, but it's hard. And this is... I included this invasion for a reason. When you're fighting a bunch of mages, there's, you know, like I said, just go for it. But you can't just go for it when it's all damn mages all the time, you know. That was a terrible attempt at a carry and retaliation. You can carry and retaliate that, as you saw, but you shouldn't try and carry and retaliate it while there's other spells being cast around you. You can carry and retaliate enemies as an invader. So I'm carrying and retaliating their whatevers instead of carrying and retaliating the Cannon of Hyma. So that was dumb. But there you go. Oh, he died before we could get it. Sad. Sad. But still, as a fun invasion. I should probably look into getting magic fortification or whatever the hell it's called in this game. But I won't. I'll say that I should do it, and then I'll never do it. That's just the way I roll, baby. Lazy. Unless it looks cool. If it looks cool, then I have to do it. You know. This invasion right here. This is a rough one because this dude looks badass, the Phantom. And if he kills that Night Cavalry, I go home. They win, right? So I have to try and stop him from killing the Night Cavalry with those giant flame take these. But we're going to hit the Night Cavalry with the Phantom Great Rune. I've got a bleed build. The host has a bleed build. I'm not sure what's on that halberd the guy's using. I forget what that's called. I just call it the Sleepy Time halberd because everybody uses it with sleep grease. So I don't. The Albinorics use it. Like if you want it, you have to farm it off of Albinorics. And it looks cool. It's one of those things I'll just never use because of the way it's treated by other players. You gotta appreciate that the guy is using Fire's Deadly Sin though, and I do appreciate that. But now that we've got the Night Cavalry buffed, you know, just a simple bleed out. And the Night Cavalry will basically get Lord of Blood's Exaltation, which is a nice buff for him to have. And I'll get healed. Boom. Running heavy attacks. Oh, man. Oh. To die to your own Fire's Deadly Sin. That's just brutal. Alright, so now that this guy's gone, that Phantom was worth quite a bit of runes, by the way. That's a pretty high-level Phantom there. So I'm glad I went the route that I did in trying to get that Phantom off the Night Cavalry. That was one of those invasions that, like, you're going to lose one way or the other unless you stop that guy from killing the Night Cavalry. So, like, if you die in the process, you know, oh well. We're going to try and use Dragonclaw as a backstab wake up here, and it doesn't work. But because it didn't work, homie felt compelled to try and punish it, and he got hit with the Bloodflame Talons into the double slash. We finally got the combo. Very nice. Very nice. This is the build that I am using if anybody is interested in it. It's an okay build. But this is not like, this is overpowered. It's not at all. If you're making a level 60 invader, pick one stat. Strength, Dex, Int, Faith, or Arcane. Pick one. And do that. Marika's Sword Seal, Millicent's Prosthesis, I talked about those. Lord of Blood's Exaltation. And over here I use the Flock's Canvas Talisman, which increases the damage of miracles, or incantations. You could also use Shard of Alexander, whatever you want really, in that last slot. But that's what I do. And that's the video. Thanks for watching it. Later, y'all.